There's a pretty common use case when building RESTful APIs: creating a list of children together with a parent resource in one go. So rather than having to send subsequent requests to create an author and then the courses for that author, we want to create the author and a list of courses in one go. We're looking at the create author action on the author's controller. We're going to extend this so it can create both an author without courses and one with courses. The first thing we need to do for that is extend the author for creation DTO class. Here we want to add a collection of courses. We already have a DTO for creating a course, the course for creation DTO. We must use that one and not the course DTO to avoid running into issues like having a course with the wrong author ID. Next, well, there is no next. This is it. Let's look at that create author action again. What's going to happen is that the courses we pass in will be deserialized into a list of course for creation DTO. AutoMapper takes care of that for us. The checks can remain as is, and the actual persistence logic is in the repository. EF Core takes care of that for us. We've now got an action that we can use to create an author with or without courses. And this again drives home the point of thinking about the difference between input and output. Input is an author with optionally a list of courses. Output is just the author but with different fields. Now, of course, the repository must support this as well. We're treating it as a bit of a black box because we're focusing on REST, and that stops at the outer-facing layer. But just for your information, let's have a look at that. The add author method on the repository will also look at the courses and generate an ID for each if there are courses in the collection. From that moment on, the DB context contains a new author and a new list of courses for that author. Once we save the context, these are persisted, and that is handled by Entity Framework Core. By the way, there is a reason why I am explicitly setting the IDs here instead of using identity columns and letting Entity Framework Core handle it. We'll get to that later on in the course. For now, let's give this a try. Let's set a breakpoint here so we can run through it. I've got a request lined up here that will post an author with a list of 2 courses. Let's click send. And we hit our breakpoint. Our author variable contains 2 courses. Deserialization took care of that. After mapping this to an author entity, we see that it also contains 2 courses. The author for creation DTO has been mapped to an author entity, and the course for creation DTOs have been mapped to course entities. But they don't have their IDs filled out yet. Let's set a breakpoint after this has been saved, and let's have a look again. This time, the IDs have been filled out. Let's continue. And we get back a 201 created with the newly created author serialized from an author DTO in the response body. Let's have a look at the location header. And let's navigate to it. Here's our author. And now let's navigate to the courses for this newly created author. And here are indeed our 2 newly created courses. So that's pretty nice, right? There's another very interesting use case, and it's probably one of the most often asked questions when building RESTful APIs. How do you create a list of resources in one go? In other words, how do you add multiple authors in one go rather than posting them one by one? Let's have a look.